Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. We have Tabatha in the building. Not in the building physically, but virtually. We are doing this virtually, and she's over in Nebraska, been doing it 20 plus years. What's really cool, she started at 19 years old with her now husband, Tracy. They've been together forever as well, which I love. And they've done the fix and flips. They're doing lending a little bit now. Buy and holds is the bread and butter. And what they really like to promote and teach people out there is like the money is out there, ladies and gentlemen, that the opportunities are endless. And if you need capital to be able to get started, it really comes down to a certain methods and forms that we'll kind of cover here. But they have some awesome things going on, looking to double their portfolio as well as income within the next 2 to 5 years, which I'm very excited and blessed to hear about. Tabatha, what's happening? How are you today?
I am fantastic, Brandon. This is great. I love this. Like, I just got off another show and I was talking about it. And so you already got me. I'm in the excited mode. Like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you had a good time. That's awesome.
You got me on a good time.
Cool. So talk to us. Anybody that doesn't know who you are, where you're from, what you're up to, could you give us and the listeners that 30,000 foot view?
Yeah, so you nailed it. I married my high school sweetheart. We have 5 beautiful daughters. He drugged me in this real estate world when we were in college. He said, "Hey, I want to buy a house, live in the basement, rent out the top. Do you want to help me renovate it? And you want to help me with this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, yes. And this was, early 2000s. And so that's when the first kind of real estate shows, like the reality shows kind of started coming out. So I'm like, yeah, it's going to be just like one of those shows, right?
Little did you know. Yeah.
No, little did I know, 9 layers of wallpaper later, right? So like we did this project. He lived in the basement. He was able to live there rent free, and he bought his second property within that first year just because we both knew a little bit about real estate. So his dad had bought some he was about 5 years prior to that. His dad, who was a farmer, had sold all his cows and was like, I'm going to do real estate. He knew nothing about real estate, but he did it. And my husband helped him like renovate it and do the thing. And so he kind of saw that, right? Just a little bit, but we really didn't have mentorship. People in our area were not doing this. This was not a thing. Yeah. It was like, but we saw it as a way. We knew we were going to get married. We loved each other. We're like, we're going to have a family. We knew we weren't going to work for anybody else. So let's do this for our retirement plan. And that's kind of why we got started.
Yeah. And so your father-in-law, what sparked his interest? Did he have what got in his ear about real estate? Because that obviously that's part of the domino effect here that kind of inspired your husband and then you guys. So
I think he had some relatives that had done some stuff in real estate. And his brother actually had gotten his first property before him. And I think that's where the bug is. But I really should sit down with him and be like, hey, what was it, that did that? But from my knowledge of the family is that he had a cousin that had some real estate, and then his brother had like a property. And I think he saw it like rental properties are going to be easier than taking care of cows, because if you have anybody on here that's from the Midwest that knows anything about cattle, it is a rigorous career. Yeah. He was like, I am not doing that. So he bought these, and now he had college kids instead of cows. So
I love it. Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
That's so cool. And then, so you guys have 5 daughters.
Yes.
No boys at all, huh?
No boys.
How does Tracy feel about that? I feel like a house full of women. That's a lot. That's a lot.
He is very loved and taken care of. I always say when we're old, the girls are who take care of you. They just love on him. He's a phenomenal girl dad. He's awesome. We do have one boy puppy, but that puppy is more attached to me than it is him. So I don't know. He just I said, you're gonna have a lot of grandsons and son-in-laws that love you, and it's all gonna work out.
Yeah. It's a full circle. That's awesome.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. So what was that first property? Did you guys do the house hacking situation, live in the basement and rent out the top, or what did that look like on the first
he
deal?
lived in the basement and his brother lived with him.
Okay.
I think rent free. I don't know. Whatever. It's his brother, right? But the tenants upstairs lived and paid his rent.
Cool.
And I actually lived in one of his dad's houses in college because we weren't married. And so we were like, we're not living at, this was, you're being good, right? Like, I don't know what place he lived in the other. And he bought that second property, I'm pretty sure within about 18 months. I don't know the exact date. We still have those two properties. They're still netting us, profit. And again, he just saw it as a way. It was always funny though, because we rented out, we were in a college town. So like we rented out to college students. Yeah. So my husband had to deal with the parents a lot of the time. Yeah. And he's this 21-year-old kid dealing with like these 40-year-old parents. Yeah. And these girls or whatever that are like fighting upstairs. And he's like, this is crazy. Because my husband's not drama at all. And he's just like chill. He's very patient and just laid back. And so, these parents would come to him and they're like 45 years old. And he's this 21-year-old kid that's the landlord. So it was just always kind of funny. Even honestly, until just recently when he turned 40, even him being a young man, like, it was just always this funny
situation.
Yeah. Like, these kids, like the parents that he deal with sometimes are still older than him, and dealing with that and stuff. So it was just kind of funny in the beginning because we were younger than them. And so
I love that. I've experienced that myself. And it's always like, I have, the parent co-signing and is much, much older. And it's just, it's an awkward situation, but kind of, it is funny. Okay. So what was the first type of real estate? Because I know you've done a bunch of different things over the years now, but what was the first style of real estate, if you will, that you guys fell in love with? Do you guys focus on the BRRRR strategy at all? I know you've done some fix and flips. You prefer buy and holds. What does all that look like for you?
I think the fix and flips for us, my husband is just naturally like he has a contractor background, so he can go and do it, but he doesn't have like a contract, like a construction crew. So we would just do everything himself. So it was just a lot of work. And we did a lot of things ourselves for a lot of years just because we had the wrong mindset.
Yep.
Remember, his dad didn't have a mentor, didn't have anybody. So his dad did everything himself. And my husband was like slave labor, right? Like my husband and him did it. Yeah. So he just didn't we didn't really start hiring people out until like 5 years ago. So we just did everything. So the fix and flips were just hard because when you do everything, it's time consuming. You just have money going out. So we were like, okay, at least with the rental properties, we can put people in there and maybe supplement their rent a little bit if we're working on it, right? Or take a month, do enough to get them in there. And then they're happy to let us in and fix it up, because they're like, that's better living, right? So we just liked that because it was the long term. He was a farmer. So like, he was like, this is my income right now. This is my long-term strategy. That worked for us in the beginning. And honestly, it was like the path of least resistance because we went in, we bought a house, we got tenants in right away and bam, like we were cash flow. Like there wasn't a lot. We didn't have to get LLC. Like we didn't. I mean, we just did it. And so I think a lot of people, they see all these realms of real estate and they just get overwhelmed. And it's like, do whatever is like the path of least resistance. If you don't know contractors, if you don't know what needs to be done on a house, don't buy a fix and flip.
Yeah.
Because that's a big headache, know, we even knew. Like when we go into a house, we could see exactly like what needed to be done. We knew like what the cost would be. We knew materials, all that stuff just because of his background. And so it was like, we even knew that. And we still were like, okay, right now in our season of life, that's not the right strategy. I was never attracted to wholesaling because I didn't have the right connections and I was doing my coaching business in another area and I couldn't devote the time it took because it wasn't like what people say, like, oh, an hour a day. That's BS. I'm sorry. But like, if you want to be in the business of real estate, it's a business. So you have to put the hours in and we just didn't have it. So that was what fit into our lifestyle at the time when we got started. The one thing is I wish we would have found some better mentorship in the real estate space to really guide us and show us like, we knew what we were doing real estate, but there was other reasons deeper than what we were being told, even by our accountant, even by our banker. Those people aren't going to tell you.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily know. Like they
no. And we just were trusting that they did, and we just didn't know what we didn't know. Yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah, that's so good, and I think we all can relate to that. We all, you don't know what you don't know, and at the end of the day, trying to even find mentors previously, I feel like it was a little bit of a either a disconnect or just some of the people that really had the value didn't necessarily want to share it out as much as I feel like people are more willing to share out a lot of stuff now, which is great.
But 10 years ago, I looked for people because I was in the coaching industry. So I was like, I knew we needed a coach. I was like, we need a coach. And the couple programs that were out there were mediocre at best. And to try to get my husband sold on a coaching program, it was going to have to be like top level. Like in his mind, he was like, well, let's just do the work because that's my
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. And we did, but it took us 20 years, Brandon. Like
exactly. Yeah.
It took us a long time.
I think one of the biggest things that I love though is first off, acknowledging like the mindset that you previously had of do it yourself, which is okay. It's, you know, there's no right or wrong, but it's like you realize now at this point in life that there may be a better way for you at this season, which is great because elevate and delegate, get to the next level. But it's also one of the secret sauces that I think you dropped here, whether you realize it or not, is like you guys had the end goal in mind and that plan. You know, Tracy was right on point with it, and he didn't want to. He only wanted to take on things that are really going to align with that plan, which is great because now you guys at least have that end goal, and then you guys are going to put things within, you know, that align with it or not, and cut out the kind of extra BS. But it's so funny how there's so many people out there that want to get started in real estate. Like everybody acknowledges like, hey, that sounds amazing. I want to do real estate, but they overcomplicate it. Like you mentioned the LLC. Like I didn't have an LLC for my first 10 properties. And so many people like come to me and like, hey, I'm a real estate. I just got my LLC. It's like, what else did you get? Like you got LLC, you know? And so I'm sure. And so I think that mindset's important to acknowledge it and realize. But what else did you guys do to really start identifying the mindset? I wouldn't want to call it issues, but like the limited beliefs around where you were at and overcoming.
So it was about 10 years into our marriage, and my husband was working for my father-in-law. So as a farmer, if anybody knows anything, that's expensive too. And so you kind of do your due diligence, right, on the family farm.
Sure.
And we were 3 kids in, and we had no time together. And I was like, sell the rentals. Like I was so done with them because they were taking more time away from him.
Sure.
And I saw the vision and I knew the vision, but I was just like every person living on here at some point in your life, you're just looking just the day in advance, right? Like just get me through tomorrow. And we weren't seeing him, and he was hating what he was doing because he was not working for himself. And I could see his soul was dying. And I said, you need to break away from him. Like you just need whatever, if we need to sell this house and downsize, or I don't care, like whatever, like we got to do this. And so he broke away. And he was able to supplement. And we actually bought more properties because he's like, this is supplementing our income. And I trusted him because I didn't know the numbers. And I just trusted my husband. And I'm like, I trust you. Let's do this. Like, let's go. And I was doing some side hustle stuff with coaching and things and supplementing some income. So we were able to do that. And he just felt the burden on his shoulders. And I'm speaking to some men that you have on here. Is like, I get it. Like you have the weight of the world. You want to provide. You want to be there. You want to be the husband. You want to be the dad. You want to have, like, you want to be the hero in your family story. But I'm here to tell you that your wife wants to be the hero too. Like you guys need to come together, whatever that looks like for you guys. And for the women to step up and be like, you can be involved in this. Cause I sat back. I mean, I go in and I would help with getting tenants in there and applications, and I'd help renovate, and I'd get in the nitty gritty, and I'd pull carpet, and I was doing dry, like I was doing all that stuff. Right. But like the business of real estate, I was like, oh, I don't know. Sure. And remember, I didn't have good mentors. So I just kind of stood back. And now that I'm like coming in and saying, what can I do to add value to this? What can I learn to help us like 10x our business in 2 years and in our family's vision? Like, and talking with constantly, me and my husband are constantly talking about like vision and where we want it to go. And I don't want to step on his toes. And I'm like asking him stuff about like lenders and if we become lender and all this stuff. And I'm like, I want it to be unified because at the end of the day, it's our family. That's so good. And so real estate, whatever, if you're a young kid, like I'm telling you to get started, because if you ever eventually want to have a family, or even you have nieces and nephews, or just you don't want to be a scumbag and you want to leave a good legacy, do it, right? But you have to do it in a way that's building character and building integrity and building these principles that a lot of real estate investors are not talking about, because it's like they think it's the fluffy stuff, but it's the foundational stuff. It's the stuff that's going to get you through the hard times, the mindset stuff. And I will give myself a pat on the back because my husband, I give him all kudos to the real estate stuff, like keeping us in and like being this steady, because he's very steady and steadfast. Like that's his personality. But I'm the one that's like, we need to change our mindset. We can't live in scarcity. We have to move. We have to buy this property. You can do it. If we have to go bankrupt, we go bankrupt. If this is a bad deal, it's a bad deal. We are in it together. So if it's a bad deal, I'm not going to blame you. You're not going to blame me. We love each other at the end of the day. Done. And so we have that kind of agreement. And I think some marriages don't. Like they think if they move, they're going to blame me. And if we have to like change our lifestyle, they're going to blame me and then divorce me and not love me. Right? Like that's the whole thing. I tell him all the time, we could live in a van down by the river as long as we're together. And we talk about deals together. We don't leave each other out. We communicate that. And sometimes I can come off strong and sometimes I think he can come off too passive, and we address it. And we go forward and we say, if we buy this deal, if we do this thing, like, are you going to say, I told you so, or hold it over my head? Because if you are, I'm not going to do it. Sure. And we just a long time ago said, we trust each other. Yeah. We will make the best decision in that position that we are in and let God lead us and not be scared of it and go forward. And so now and that was the decision. That was the time when it was like, I just looked at him in the eyes, because he was just living in this perpetual scarcity and like fear, like he was going to make the wrong decision and our whole family was going to like just dissipate. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I have your back. You don't have to do it all. Like, let's go. And if you have to, do something that like ruins everything, like as long as we're in integrity and we know that we made the right decision with the information that we had in that moment. We can look at each other in the eye and say, I'm good. Or even if I didn't, like, you know what? I made a bad judgment call. Like, I am sorry. Like, this sucks. We give each other permission to give ownership in a very safe space. That's good. I would encourage any couple on here, you have to have, even if you don't agree with them.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I'm sure I do that he doesn't necessarily agree with, but he's like, I love you. I trust you. The follow through, I have to see. And that's okay. That's okay that he has to, that's not a dig on me. We're all humans. We drop the ball. We don't follow through. Like, how many times have we said we're going to start the diet tomorrow and we don't, right? So like, it's okay that he questions it a little bit. That doesn't mean he loves me any less. That means that me as a human being, I get to grow and I get to say, okay, I will follow through. These are the things that I'm going to do. This lending project, this is on me. I'm taking this on because he can't, he's too busy right now. So I'm doing this, but I'm including him every step that I take. But I inevitably take ownership of this project of the real estate.
Yeah, I love your mindset around just the relationship. You guys sound like an incredible relationship, very similar to Jen and I, my better half. But I can imagine there's a lot of relationships out there that struggle with that, feeling that external pressure of, if it doesn't work out and then everything else goes to shit, like, what am I going to do then? And then they're going to blame me. And some relationships, I can imagine that they do probably point the finger, but it's so crucial to realize that, like, there's no perfect relationship out there. All relationships are difficult, but it's well worth it. And so if you have those transparency, full communication and just that foundation layer right up front of like, hey, we're good no matter what, as long as we have each other and we're giving it our all, and we're going to make mistakes. It's okay. It's part of the game. As long as we can kind of learn from this, grow and be cool with each other, then the foundation will always be good.
Yeah. And we always play the what's the worst that can happen.
Yes.
So any couple, it's like, what's the worst that can happen? And we just do that rabbit trail together because we go into that fear together. And if what's the worst that could happen, we're both like, if that happens, then no, then it's a no. But if we're like, that's the worst that can happen,
we're good.
Oh,
yeah. I love that. So talk to me. You guys are very passionate about setting up more of a legacy and wealth and teaching others how to do exactly the same thing because it's lacking out there, of course. So talk to me about that mindset and kind of the mission behind it, what you guys are doing to be able to help out more people along the road.
Well, what we found was when we'd go to conventions, we'd tell people, hey, we're real estate investors and we buy properties and we're landlords. And they'd always say, like, literally like 95%, Well, people would say, oh, we've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but why haven't you?
Why haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the excuse like money, time, I don't know. I write all that stuff. Well, you can't say you don't know because there's a thing called YouTube and all the information that you ever need to know about real estate is on there. Okay, I promise you that. Now, if you want to actually take action on it and like really feel certain and surround yourself with the right people, you got to pay to play. Like I'm just saying, you got to join a mentorship, a group coaching, mastermind, something, because they're the ones who are going to keep you, like you said, that straight focused vision. You're not going to have the shiny object syndrome. You're going to feel secure about when you do sign up with an LLC or a corp or whatever, you're going to have that backing. Those people are going to help you move the needle faster. So you do need to pay to play that. But those first steps, especially, I don't have the money. People say that all the time. And I'm like, oh, we started when we were in college. I waitressed almost 40 hours a week while taking a full-on course load to maybe earn $100 a day. That was a great day back in the 2000s, right? Yeah. So we didn't have any extra. Like we knew people. So it's like you either have to have the money or the people. And I heard that way back when I was in network marketing. It was like you either had to have the people or you had to have the money. Yep. Okay. So one of the two. It's just we block it right away. It's that veil of like, oh, I can't do it. So I'm going to have this excuse. And this excuse sounds good and valid. And people are going to be like, you know what? You don't have the money. Okay, good. Sit where you're at, comfortable, uncomfortable island, living your life of despair and looking at people in jealousy and hating on people who have things because you don't. Like, that's just the reality. That's the reality we were living in. So tell people it's like, if you see something, if you feel that jealousy, there's a reason. Somebody has something that you want. Use it for fuel and use it for good. Like use jealousy for good instead of evil and talking down on people. So it's like, you can take that. So for legacy, the reason why that's so important to me is because we live in a society, the busy culture, I feel like is where we're at right now. Everybody, everywhere you go, it's the busy season, no matter what season they're in. We're busy. My day is busy. How was yesterday? Oh, we were so busy. What did we do this? Busy, 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 busy. Oh, I hate that word. I really try not to use it. I really do. It's like
some people use it as like a badge of honor too. Like I'm so busy, and it's like
100. Like I am so busy. Like I am so like popular. It's like a popular thing. Like because if I'm busy enough, then it looks like I'm popular. Busy and productive are two different things, and productive and fruitful are two different things, right? So like I saw this culture, and when I'm always drawn to entrepreneurs because I really feel like God-fearing entrepreneurs are who are going to change the world. Yep. It's no 100%. Party, it's no religion. Yep. It's literally like God-fearing people who are entrepreneurs are changing this world. So I was like, whenever I'm in the coaching industry, so people would be like, who do you want to serve? That's a big question, right? Like, who's your avatar? Brandon, I'm sure you got it. Like, who's your avatar for your podcast, right? Yeah. It's always the thing. And I always was like, it's the entrepreneurial family, like the person who has a family who's the entrepreneur. And they're like, oh, that's not narrow enough, which it might not be. But here's my thing. I literally was like, there are people who are building businesses and they have families and they might even be netting $1 million a year. Yep. But they have like no wealth. They're like still scrambling. They're still stressed out. They're not enjoying their kids. They're not spending that time. They're still busy, right? They maybe have a few people hired. They really haven't learned how to be a leader and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is killing me because they'll burn out. And like, what's the statistic? Like only 4% of businesses go for 10 years or something. Yep. And that killed me because I was like, oh my gosh, like 4%, that's crazy. Well, now I actually have that on my desk and it says, I will be the 4%. Because it's like the 4% who do it. I want to help the 4% who not only want to accumulate wealth here, but distribute it in a way that is going to be withstanding for generations. Yes. The way to do that is to teach wealth characteristics, success principles to your kids. Well, when we live in a busy society, who has time to do that, right? Between soccer practice and school and band and football and dance lessons and this and that. It's like our kids are busy, but are they really learning how to be productive members of society? Are they learning how to be fruitful people of the spirit? Like, are they learning these things? No, even rich, entitled like kids. And that's what was happening. By second generation, 70% of wealth is gone. 90% is gone by third generation. That's crazy to me.
It is crazy, isn't it? So wild.
And so I was like, I saw this as a need and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we need something to help these kids. Yeah. And also people to invest in real estate where it's not all this crazy, like 10 10 things I need to do. And you see this person who's uber successful, like a total guru in real estate. And you're like, I could never be like them. Me and my husband are just rural Nebraska, like-minded people that we can sit down at the kitchen table. Like our kids can be in the background and we're like, tell us about your family. Like I want to know about your kids. I want to know about your vision. Why are you working so hard at your job?
Yeah.
And what do you want to leave your kids? And so when we started unpacking this, I just wanted a place where families could go, not another to-do list, right?
Yeah.
Like not another course that they just check off, but like where they could come and even their kids could mastermind together. Because my kids, I want them to be around like-minded kids. And we have a great school, and they go to public school. So, I mean, they do great. I mean, I know some aren't good, and there's good and bad everything, right? So I'm not here to play that platform.
We're in California. It's different.
It's different. It's just totally different. And I would homeschool if I was there. Okay. So, but they go to a great school. We literally live 3 blocks from the school. They can walk to school. It's great.
No.
But their friends do not have the same mindset. Their parents do not have the same mindset. Love them. People. Yep. They don't have my mindset. So if we could bring them in an environment where they could mastermind and create little businesses and invest in properties and do things together, I think that's so fun because as a parent, when I see that in my kid and I see them doing things that I know are going to change their mindset for the future and for philanthropy and giving and that money isn't scarce and that they're going to have a good relationship with it and they're going to find another human being to marry that has that same kind of mindset, that excites me. And I was like, we need an environment there. But then also, can we teach the parents, to invest in real estate and where capital comes from and to not use your own money and how you can get started with nothing and doing all that stuff? Can we have kind of a coaching environment, consulting environment where we do that to help these people? Because I don't want just something that has to tether people because entrepreneurs are busy, right? I want an environment where they want to come and to meet up a couple times a year and invest in each other's family. And I bring powerhouses and they learn and they execute and they grow. And that's the vision is how many families of that 4% can we just wrangle and say, we want our families to be the change. I don't want to just go to a mastermind. I want my kids to go. I want them because we are together. Otherwise, they're going to think mom's crazy. What is she doing all this stuff for? No. So I bring it to their level and I say, I'm doing this for us, for our family. So we can go to Disney World, so we can buy our dream home, so we can have, these things, so I can spend more time with you and we can do those fun stuff. So we bring it together. We want an environment for entrepreneurs that want that same kind of environment.
Yeah. So, I mean, just average people looking, next level thinking and really something bigger and better. And you want to lead by example, have the kids actually experience this as well so that they can get to it a heck of a lot sooner than, that we have, which is awesome. Yes. I love that. I love that. So talk to me, what are the plans and the projects that you're kind of working on right now to be able to make sure that you can get this information into more people's hands?
Yeah. So right now we have a free group and we have a website called Keep Legacy Wealth. So if you are someone who's I'm interested in this, and we have free resources on there to if you're I want to buy my first property, we have the 5 things that we look for when we buy an income property. Cause I get that a lot. What do you look for? Well, here's the 5 things. Really simple, right? The information's out there. So you'll get on our email list. So you'll get information as we create this program, because this isn't something I just wanted as a course that you could just check off. Do I want it as a group? Even our free group, I'm iffy if we'll keep that, just because I know when it's free, you're in and out and it's not the thing, right? I want people who are I want this.
Committed. Yeah.
I want to buy my first property. I want to buy my second property. I want to build my wealth. I want my kids, I am committed to this. Go. Yeah. So we have
you got to pay attention in many ways. It's that famous saying. So yes. Very needed.
And then helping people get lending, especially working with fix and flippers, wholesalers. I know that even getting that $1,000 earnest money for people can be a struggle when you're first starting a business. And so we want to help and lend. And I have people who, lend multi-thousands of dollars. So it's we have connections with people to help you get funding on these projects, even development projects. Even if it's I want to buy I want to be a landlord. I want to buy holds. Okay. Buy and hold. Okay. We can help you get the 20% down, that kind of stuff. I want you Tab Thorell on Instagram. This is the best way right now because we're setting up our website. I'd send you to the website, but it's probably still under construction by the time you hear this. And I just want you to personally message me on Instagram and just put lending. That's all. Like, you want more information on lending because it's all about money. People are like, I don't have the money. I can show you how to get the money. You don't have to go to a bank. Yes, you can. And I can show you a strategy to go to 10 banks and how you can get that. And if you want to do it, but if you need a hard money loan, if you need creative finance, like that kind of stuff, Tab Thorell on Instagram. Okay. Just DM me and put lending and let's have a conversation and let's just see if we can help you out. And if we can't, fine. Like, there's no ties. But like, if you are someone who says, I don't have the money and I'm telling you, I can get you the money and you're not doing it, dude, just get off. You're just excuse central and we don't have time.
Yeah. That excuse has already been, overturned. So not an excuse anymore. So I love that so much. I saw exactly the same thing when I first got started in real estate. So many people, would hear about, Brandon, you got several properties out of state, cash flowing like great. How'd you do it? And I would love to do that too, but I need to make money over here first. And for me, I use credit. I use business credit, 0% interest to do the BRRRR strategy. I paid with credit cards and it wasn't easy, but it was well worth it, to say the least. And it gave me protection with contractors and so much more. And so when you eliminate the excuses, which we all have, so it's like identify that first, eliminate those excuses, and then take territory and be relentless with it. And you'll see, getting yourself into great rooms like what you're creating right now, it's going to help out so many people. So I just love where your heart's at. I'm excited to see what you guys do with it. And I'm just stoked to have you on here. How else can people get a hold of you and kind of follow along the ride?
So keeplegacywealth.com is, like I said, the website where we're developing this program. We want to move forward. Anything really revolving around lending or real estate is going to be on there. So once we get our lending website, we'll link it to there. So like Keep Legacy Wealth is going to be the website for us to anything to deal with real estate and that kind of. If you want to partner with us, if you want to do anything like I'm scared, I want to partner. Like, okay, connect with me. Tab Thorell on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. My podcast is on YouTube. And we are going to start rolling out. I keep hearing the birds say, like, you need more content on real estate on YouTube. And it's just like one more thing that I'm like, okay, but again, I have to do my priorities. So there'll be more trainings on that. What I think is YouTube has a lot of free trainings, people. Yeah. Like, if you want my consulting, just message me. Let's set up a time and let's work together, because you don't need to spend any more thousands of hours on YouTube with free content. But I do know, to know, like, and trust me, we'll get more stuff out there on YouTube. Tabatha Thorell.
I love it. Awesome. Well, guys, I highly encourage you to reach out to Tabatha. Wealth of knowledge, great human being, and her heart's in the right place to be able to help guide you guys and really motivate you to eliminate the excuses and get out there and take more territory. So her and her husband, Tracy, they are awesome. You definitely want to reach out to them. And if you guys want to follow me or reach out, you can always DM me on Instagram. Check out our Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram, as well as Brandon Elliott Investments on Instagram. Otherwise, if you are looking to get more funding and figure out what the heck we're doing here at Credit Counsel Elite, where we teach business owners just like you nationwide how to be able to get up to $500,000 in new capital with interest rates as low as 0%. This is repeatable every 6 months. Check out creditcounselelite.com. That's www.creditcounselelite.com. That's 2, 3, 4, or even $500,000 in new capital. So we have a quick little 10-minute video that explains more in detail what the heck I'm talking about. And then afterwards, you can feel free to book a one-on-one call with me or my team to go over your particular situation where you're looking to go. And if you have not already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. Appreciate all the love, all the support. You guys are amazing. Keep it coming. Leave those 5-star reviews. But when you subscribe, you'll get the newest notification every Monday when the new episode drops. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, Tabatha. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.